Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Modcast, episode 47.
Woo.
I was waiting for it. I was just, anticipating the woo.
One day the woo will not come. Sensei will not arrive.
Is he dead? Are the theories true? We'll find out this time on the Modcast. I'm Waj.
I'm Slime, and we have a special guest here today.
Yes, we do. Hello to you, sir.
Hi, my name's Coca-Cola. I was the guy that got kicked out of that channel run by that idiot Oonie.
My theories are confirmed! Coca-Cola was in fact Oonie the whole time!
No,
Oh,
it's just
man.
Oonie. Coca-Cola's still dead.
Yeah, so you're Oonie. The reason that you're here is because we're gonna talk about art and stuff.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the plans to take over TTV. I get to be the bootleg purple, right?
How did he find out? Slime, did you leak it to him?
I may or may not have. Anyway, so art!
Yes, I don't know how to art. I do graphic design, I guess, but Slime, what do? You do art, right?
Do I really do art? I don't think I do art. Most of the art that I've created for the channel has been traced. So I'm not going to count the Nintendo Switch one though, because that's literally just the logo that I designed for the channel. I guess that counts. I mean, I did design the logo for
Modularity, yeah. What was your inspiration for making the logo the way that you did? Tell me the secrets as to why there's that little bit of blue, why the dark blue shadow isn't completed. There's this little triangle.
My reasoning behind that little tiny splotch of blue that is not filled in, it has to do with the feelings that are within us all, we're all just hiding underneath someone's shadow. So that little tidbit, that represents you, that represents me, that represents everyone in the world, where we're all just hiding behind the shadow of something great, of something beautiful, of something amazing and flawless.
And I am the shadow.
Right. No, of course.
But yeah, no, I've actually got a few early concepts. So this is basically, it was my first draft, where the initial idea was to have 6 geometric shapes, each one representing a mod. So purple was Indy, red was John, dark green was Kronk, blue was Waj, yellow was Lego Master, and the lime was me.
Yeah.
That was kind of my initial concept, and it looked kind of awkward. So then I was like, well, what if I try this? And turn it all blue.
Yeah.
And that looked a little better, but it still didn't quite look right. And I asked myself, well, what if I tried it without any outlines? And then I did that. I made it white. And boom, a Modcast logo that we've used for over a year now.
Yeah, I really like the design. It is essentially a spiky M, but for a logo, you need to have it so that it's recognizable at smaller scales. That is the more important aspect of it. But actually, fun fact, initially, what I had put as the avatar for the channel was actually a drawing that you made, Oonie, which was the Altai mod. Yeah. This
gosh.
amalgamation of all the mod squad.
That's not art. That's just bad.
No, it is art, Oonie. It is.
You know what's funny is the modularity, the M. A couple times when I was referencing it for the Mighty Morphin Mod Squad, I thought I might have used it as a boomerang, right? Doesn't it kind of look like Pohatu's Stormerangs?
Ah, it does kind of.
So I was thinking that might have been the weapon I would have used, but I went with some other stuff.
I have mentioned the animation you did before, the Mighty Morphin Mod Squad.
Yeah.
I really like that. It's essentially us as Power Rangers.
That's my specialty, making mashups of things.
That's kind of the thing that you do as well, Slime. Reinterpret us as different characters from the topics that we talk about.
I especially like the Voltron one.
Oh, yes.
It is literally just me taking an image, tracing over it, and kind of adding my own
slimy
artistic
flair.
style there in quotation marks, aka no curves allowed, only sharp edges, cause I'm an edgy edgelord. But yeah, that's literally it. Also, I will note, I'm looking at the thumbnail for episode 28, the Steven Universe episode, and it still bothers me that Amethyst is just a floating head. And I'm so disappointed in myself that I wasn't actually able to finish that.
It's great.
Drawing.
So, essentially how the Modcast thumbnails have worked prior to episode 41 is that we had gotten art from people, people had drawn fan art like you, Oonie.
Yes.
What I do, because I quote-unquote make the thumbnails, I put together all of the characters to create the image, and then I create the backgrounds and the colors and layer the logo and the numbers. For this particular one, I remember like Amethyst's hair was just massive. It extends far beyond the corner right there.
Right
See,
there.
it's huge.
Well,
That's great.
because Amethyst's hair in the show that's the length of her body, and that's like the whole
Oh,
point.
it is, yeah.
But yeah, I initially planned on making the full drawing, and this is as far as I got. Which, wow, I didn't even realize I got Olive Garnet.
A lot of people do the full body designs, but I actually do like the head icons, or just heads basically, because they're more easily seen on smaller scales. Like, I really like the Hero Factory one that you did as well. That Lego Master, though.
Yep.
That Lego Master.
I was just gonna say.
His derp face.
Yeah,
I scaled it down.
I seem to remember that it was very, very short period, and we were just like, art for this, and I was like, I'll do it.
Yep.
I just went ahead and like threw something together in like an hour.
That's sort of like how the designs of the thumbnail art has worked, and I want to have a lot more people on for this one, specifically like Pekako of Jungle, Lord Tuma, and Can, as well as you, Oonie.
All good guys.
All you guys had done really neat artwork. I remember like the Shafirians or
The
whatever.
Shafirians.
how you
Oh,
say.
yeah, that's one of my favorite thumbs.
I really liked making this one in particular because it's like a reference to one of the Star Wars posters. Seeing that Renaki actually had the blaster, it all just worked out. It all fit together. So what have you done lately as far as art-wise goes?
To be honest, not much. I kind of dropped off after I did my own kind of 365 days of art, 66 days of
Oh,
art.
yeah.
Right? I remember
Yeah,
that.
I did.
do.
I went
Lots
on
of
that on
Pokemon.
my own time,
Mhm.
and then once that finished, I was planning on doing some more official stuff, but it just never happened over the summer, and here we are.
And I just found this. I don't remember what this is a reference to. I don't remember why it's a reference to something.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't remember either, but I think it came up in one of the Discord chats.
It was something like Renaki being the sun and Uni being Jesus? Something like that.
Huh.
I don't
Oh wait,
remember
no, I think it
exactly.
was about, because we all know Renaki says some pretty out there stuff in the chats. That was the time when said he was going to be gone for like a week or something, and then I said I'd volunteer to take his place as saying outlandish stuff.
The mantle of outlandish has been passed on to you.
I think that's what it was.
Or you taken it by force.
That sounds about right.
Slime, you got like a graphic design minor, like you actually went to school for it.
I did.
What did you learn in your graphic design courses? What kind of techniques do you implement in your stuff?
I learned that your art can be crappy if you can explain why it's crappy. No, I mean, like, a lot of what I learned had to do with, like, balancing things and making sure that things are consistent and stuff like that.
Right. I don't have any kind of formal training in graphic design. I just kind of looked at a bunch of websites on the subject and just like, I don't use any kind of professional tool to do any of my image editing. I've been using Apple's Keynote, which is a slideshow tool, because I find that it's easier and much quicker to do certain things. Like, if you want to take away the background for an image, it's super simple to do. Why do I use obsolete and not good technology? I don't know. I'm not quite sure.
Because it's free.
That is actually a good point, because yeah, I did not have the Adobe suite for a very long time and only have it now because I work for TTV. So here's some images. One of the thumbnails, the process of iteration for the Faber Files one. Essentially how I do things is get a base image that is connected to the topic at hand for the background, and then I layer some stuff on top of that. For that particular one, I think I looked up distortion pattern and just like got an image for that, yeah. And like scan lines as well. Like I just looked up this stuff on Google. I set the opacity to be lower so that you can see through all of the different layers, and I rotate them sometimes as well. Usually what I do now is I'm pretty much a hack with how I do graphic design, where I just get a central image that is supposed to catch your eye. It's pretty much the easiest thing you can do is to have like a central object, but it like really works, I think, for YouTube thumbnails, because I have
Oh well, no, that's
work in the
that's
constraints of
100%.
it.
Like, I mean, that's the whole purpose behind having clickbait thumbnails is that it's to draw the viewers in.
Yeah, it mainly comes down to thumbnails or titles. Right. That's
Well,
the
yeah.
first
Exactly,
thing, probably the only thing that people see, and that determines whether they want to pursue it.
That's very
Exactly,
true.
yeah,
So
and
basically, we are the biggest clickbait. That's click-
No, like I like to think that I should really say you do a great job of.
I mean, like, we do collaborate on
having
things.
that-
Yeah, I mean, like, for the thumbnails
Not
art,
really.
like, not really anymore as it happens, as there hasn't really been any fan art for the Modcast to use. We've been doing this whole new sort of style for the thumbnails after episode 40. But yeah, I mean, we do collaborate. At least we had on those episodes.
I was just saying that I think you do a good job of being able to balance that.
Like, since I don't really know what I do, I just sort of do a lot of things kind of by ear, I guess, or by eye, I suppose. And so, like, I don't really keep very rigid constraints on things. Like, I can very well have things misaligned. And I'm like, that's okay. Keynote does have an automatic snapping tool for that. I mean, like, other programs do have that as well. But sometimes I'm like, I don't really know if this is the center. Let's just move it like 5 pixels over. I don't know if you guys have grids. How's your alignment work?
I go back and forth where I have periods where I'm like, this needs to be 100% aligned, and then other times it's just like, that's close enough.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on what I'm doing, but like...
It really depends on what kind of project I'm working on, because sometimes I need to worry a little more about it if it's a shot that's going in a video or whether it's just a random piece of art that I do. The freehand drawing stuff, it's usually just plot down a few things and then use that for reference. If it needs to be more formal, then yeah, it'll probably have more of a grid-based kind of alignment.
I go through a bunch of iterations usually. Here's an example for one of the ones that does have our characters. It went through several different designs that I was just like, I don't know how to arrange these characters, scaling them to be the same sort of, not same size, but like relative to each other. It just goes all over the place.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the case with any kind of art. You try something, it doesn't work. You try something else, that doesn't work. You try.
Yeah.
And I feel like with that thumbnail in particular, I think you did a great job of figuring out the balance with you in the center, obviously the focal point. Indy and John on both sides of you, they're both around the same size. And then on the two sides, you've got me and Lego Master being both smaller characters. Then you've got Kronk in the back, but it's...
Oh yeah, he's a ghost.
It's balanced by the Modularity logo on the other side. So
Yeah.
it's really a very well balanced image, in my opinion. Oonie, what do you use to draw?
Well, I have a Wacom drawing tablet, and then I use Photoshop 10 Elements. I don't even have the suite. I've actually taken a couple classes for certain digital art things, and then they have the most current Photoshop on there, along with all the other suite applications, and they're quite more expansive. There's a lot more to toy around with, but I don't know. It's still the basic things
Right.
that you just need to, right, whether draw or erase, right, basic things like that. You can find it anywhere. I'm not all that serious about making art anyways, so I just stick to what I know.
What do you use as reference for colors? Like, how do you go about your color choices?
There's a very simple answer to that question for me,
Oh yeah?
and that's no.
No. Come on, man.
Plain and simple.
No, I mean, like, I don't really match. I mean, unless I'm, like, designing something where I'm basing it off of something else. Like, for example, if I'm doing something with, like, Lego colors, then obviously I'd pull from Lego's official catalog and stuff. But, like, if it's just for something random or stupid or whatever, I don't really have any color references to that. I have noticed that I tend to stick to blue, green, and red, which coincidentally happen to be my 3 favorite colors.
Oh yeah?
Fitting.
And I mean, obviously, I do more than that in certain instances, but I feel like I gravitate towards those colors.
I used to do web design a millennia ago, and like, I use the site still constantly. It has good colors for websites. It's a very nicely designed website as well. The top banner, like the navigation bar, is comprised of different colors, and like when you click it, you can find all of the hex codes for various different shades, and that's what I use primarily for a lot of the color choices, and as well, like, yeah, looking at certain elements of whatever the topic is. For the Mystery Incorporated one, I think I used the green and blue from the Mystery Machine. I mean, I guess it also kind of applies to like the text that I put on certain thumbnails. Whenever I can find a font that is from the topic, I will use that font. Like, I need to use it. And so luckily I found the Guardians of the Galaxy font, so I use that. Stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. This is just a bunch of flat colors, essentially. Like, I really like flat design. Slime, you do a bunch of flat design stuff as well. Like, you know.
The real question is, do I do anything that is not?
That's true.
The answer is no. I am physically incapable of doing anything that is not flat.
I mean, gradients are a thing that I use constantly. I think pretty much all of the backgrounds have some kind of gradient in them, and like set the opacity for the image to be lower, and it just works. That's the formula that I use, because I'm a hack.
I used to use a lot of gradients in my art. Like, every single art thing that I did had gradients in it. And then, I don't know what happened. At some point, I was just like, I don't like this anymore. And you can see that with the iterations of my avatar, where
Oh, yeah.
there was a solid, I even remember how long it was, period, where my avatar was just all gradients.
Oh, yeah,
That's
I remember
right.
that.
With
Yes.
the avatar, or with the
It
gradients.
was like a,
Yeah.
green-black gradient?
Green, darker green.
Right?
There was a couple different variations. That was a newer variation. I think the very first gradient iteration was this one here, which was just a bunch of like green-black variants. It didn't look good. It just looked drab.
I do prefer flat designs. They have become much more prevalent. I think, like, the simplicity of them is really conducive to scalability, because like it's much harder to see things that have gradients at a very low resolution. With flat designs, like you can very well see them at multiple scales.
If you can get the same amount of appeal from something that's much simpler, from a flat color to a gradient, if you can use it to your advantage.
Personally speaking, I love flat designs, and I mean, that's why I do so much of it, is I just like it a lot, and I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing, it's not necessarily a good thing, but I mean, you look at the web interface of the program we're using right now, Discord, is nigh exclusively flat design.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You look at something like Twitter, or you look at this really cool site called board.ttvchannel.com.
Oh, yeah, I guess I also like pixel art, but I'm no good at pixel art. I can't do it. There's a lot of like shading stuff that you gotta be good at. None of you guys have ever done any like pixel stuff, but like, what do you guys do for like shading, I guess?
None of
or...
you guys have ever done any kind of pixel stuff. Excuse you.
Well,
as Slime desperately searches his computer for that one photo. Where
show me
actually
the way.
is it
I
not
think
on
one
this
time I
computer?
tried doing sprite art for like Pokemon sprites. Does that count?
Yes, that's exactly
that
what I was
count?
going to pull up. That counts. I count
Right,
it.
yes,
I count
yep.
it.
I wasn't very
Alright.
good at
Where
it.
is it? Is it not? I don't have it on this
Still-
computer. Wow. But yeah, I used to do a lot of Pokemon sprite art back in the day. That's really what I started off with. Doing any kind of art, really, was modifying, combining, changing colors of Pokemon sprite art, and then eventually doing my own foray into my own. I have topics of it somewhere on the boards. But
You guys want to hear a
Alright.
story that I
Yes.
just remembered?
Sure.
Tell us.
I remember when I first wanted to try out sprite art, I would go and download the sprites, images, and all that. At that time, I didn't even know what MS Paint was. So that was like my
Oh.
first introduction to like a photo editor, right? That paved the way to when I started making Shape Wars stuff, which eventually led to more advanced art stuffs that I've done recently.
Yeah, I remember using MS Paint as well back in the day. I remember using it in conjunction with like PowerPoint, because I'll never get away from slideshow programs as long as I live. I used to make like animations, making stuff in Paint and then exporting them into PowerPoint. That was fun.
I found the topic.
That's
there's a
pretty
few
cool.
custom sprites in there.
Yeah, you got like
They're all old and not. all
hey, the
that great.
Pikachu Macargo.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I was looking through some art earlier and stuff like this.
Oh,
I
yes.
prefer geometric
That's
flat design.
polygonal designs as well. That's something that I really like. For my bird chatter background, I actually use like
Oh!
yeah, I really like that kind of design style. I don't know what it is about polygonal designs. I guess seeing how they're composed of geometric shapes.
I find it quite pleasing just because it's like a puzzle. Everything just kind of fits together, and then you just
Yeah.
see it for what it is, like as a
Yeah.
whole.
I know that this might be a hard question to answer, but who do you think is your favorite artist?
A lot of the stuff that I look at, which I guess makes sense, is thumbnail art. And
Mhm.
there's one guy that I really like his videos. I mentioned him previously on the Modcast, this guy called Lemino. He does really cool thumbnails. It is that sort of same geometric type pattern for backgrounds, or the use of gradients, which I guess like did influence a lot of how I did stuff. What about you, Oonie?
This one kind of pertains to the Bionicle community. Like, I really admire like what Crunchbite makes.
Oh yeah,
Right, over on the boards. Right, he has
crunchy.
Yeah, a lot of his stuff is kind of like out there in terms of it's not definitive as Bionicle, but there's a lot of elements from, say, a Bionicle figure like maybe Makuta or some. I think there was one in particular that had Makuta in it.
So this is gonna sound kind of sell-outy.
Oh yeah.
A lot of the art that Var does, I really like Var's art. Like, he doesn't post a lot of it now, nor does he post a lot of it ever. But
but when he does, it is quite fantastic. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, Var is the one who, if you go to ttvchannel.com.
That's a website?
It is?
Yeah, I know, right? I've never heard of it before. It's like a site that is updated once. Just once.
Never.
But yeah, no. Var created all these like fancy little thumbnails for like Featured and like the podcast and
Oh yeah.
Most of them aren't used anymore, but they're all these like neat little icons that totally was not literally the only inspiration for the Modcast logo. No,
Nope.
Not at all copied. Shout out to a really cool artist. His name is Zeros.
Zeros
He does
610.
amazing art animation on the channel of TTV.
Zeros
He has
is
some
good.
great art. I feel like he doesn't get shouted out enough.
Thanks for being here, Oonie.
Of course.
Go subscribe to Oonie's channel, Oonie and Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Close enough.
We'll see you all next time for another episode of the Modcast, I guess. Goodbye, everyone. Cue that outro music.
Later.